So I mentioned the wall, like hitting that writing wall. Have you ever hit it? And like, what have you done to like move past it?
I think going for a walk is definitely the big thing. I think you need to kind of step away from your laptop or from your notebook and kind of like allow your brain to do a bit of kind of problem solving for you. Going for a walk, suddenly I have solved that issue for myself. Or even like if you've got kind of chores to do around the house, I think it's something about kind of slightly disconnecting from the work you're doing, kind of focusing on something else and maybe something physical as well. And then your brain in the background is all kind of like solving all of your problems for you.
Yeah.
I definitely think that there's only so much kind of sitting at your laptop you can do. I think you need to kind of step away.
I think, it's that moment of just staring at it. And you're just hoping that the words are going to miraculously like just fix themselves. And it's not happening. And the longer you sit there, I think that's what causes the frustration and causes the block. It's like that you're forcing it. You're waiting for this miracle to happen and it's not happening.
Yeah. And I think you're only making it worse. You're only making yourself paranoid that you're not now going to be able to finish this. And you just need to accept you've done whatever work at your laptop that you can do today. And you need to step away and like go for a walk, go outside, think about something else, put on some music. And like even if it's late at night, go to sleep. You will wake up in the morning. You'll wake up in the morning and you will have the answer, you know? There is kind of your brain is great at problem solving. So you kind of need to let the brain kind of problem solve while kind of doing something else to distract yourself.
Yeah. It always makes me laugh. Like if you're writing, if you're in any writings group, whether it's like a personal WhatsApp group or like one on Facebook, guaranteed someone's gonna say, I've got a very, very clean house at the moment. Because that moment of procrastination. And you're like, I don't want to do this. Like I can't do this. What can I do?
Yeah.
And you're clean, like my house is very, very clean. It's like, what else can I do?
Yeah. That's so true. Yeah.
Like Louise, there's a question, right? I have another I don't know, I never know what to call it. Another segment of this podcast called Coffee Break. So it's an extra podcast I do. And one of the questions I ask, and I just thought I'd ask you, is what's the most random fact you now know because of your book? So when because we do our research. What's the most random fact you know about fair play?
Oh my God, that's such a good question. And I'm sure I have well, I suppose I don't know if this is I like there is a detective character, and at the start of the first part, we're kind of introduced to him, and we're told about the first crime that he ever solved.
Yeah.
But he solved it on a ferry that goes from Tallinn in Estonia to Helsinki in Finland.
Yeah.
Which I didn't realize there's a very short ferry. I think it takes like 50 minutes or something that kind of joins up the two countries. And I really want to travel on it. Yeah. But I never realized that there was a little ferry. Of course, it makes sense. I mean, if you look at it on the map, they're very close together.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I love this question. It's such a fun question because it's never like I always expect it to be, like I say, it's like something historical, and it never is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like with this question, it's always something. As I said, it's random, which is like the fun part of it.
Yeah.
So another thing. So thinking about your career, like and where you are, like now, it's like what piece of advice do you wish you'd been told earlier in your life about being a writer, being a not just being a writer, but being a published writer and being like a career writer?
Yeah. I think there's stuff to do with, I suppose it took me quite a while I suppose this is quite a common thing with a lot of people, that the first draft of anything is just about getting the words down on page. And it's about kind of not being a perfectionist about it. It is going to be crap, and everyone's first draft is crap. And you kind of need to accept like the embarrassment of the crapness of what you've written, because it's the drafts after that you're actually going to make whatever it ultimately ends up being. And I think there's that kind of like letting go of perfection, letting go of being great from the get-go. which can really kind of get in the way then of like just doing the job, you know. Um, and I think that's probably quite a common thing with people, and I think it's probably quite a common reason that people don't continue with writing or find writing difficult or can't kind of get past a certain point because they have an expectation that the first thing that you're typing down needs to be like of a standard,
Yeah.
and it doesn't. It's just about getting the words on the page. The actual work is going to be done in the drafts and the editing that you get on from now on.
I think once you like realize, because the thing is, you can be told that, but once you actually like
Mm,
recognize it and absorb it and accept it, it makes your writing journey like it's not going to make it completely 100% an easy ride, but it makes those initial stages where you're questioning every single thing. It makes it so much easier. Because I always say to people, like, I would, my glasses are dirty, but I would never my agent never sees my first draft. My agent never
mm,
sees my like no one sees my first draft because my
mm-hmm.
first draft is an absolute mess. It's terrible. But all it is for me is just like I just need to get the story down and know exactly. I mean, I always know I always have an outline, but just get the story down in some shape or form and establish like who the characters are and how how everyone's moving in the world in this story, and it's absolutely fine. Which for me, if I change the killer, all the love interest, if all these things change as the novel progresses, I'm like, it's fine because it's supposed to be a mess, and then the work comes it's in the rewrite. It's like that's where the work
Yeah.
is, in those second and third and fourth drafts.
Yeah, and absolutely, and you're right in what you say. That first draft, no one is going to see that besides you.
No.
It's just for you. It's just for you. It's not for anybody else. No one's ever going to see it. So be as crap and as embarrassing as possible, but just get it down on the page. Get
Yeah,
everything down on the page.
you can put all the
Yeah.
cliches in. Do
Yeah.
everything you need to do.
Mm,
All the like every obvious trope, you can throw it in there because it's just about.
mm.
It's sometimes just about getting rid of the cobwebs as
Oh
well.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
how
absolutely.
do you know when you've stepped away from it for a while? Because it can happen, especially when you're writing. When you're in that flow of writing contracted books, and for me, like you're writing that first draft, and then you have to drop it because you got to go back and do maybe edits on the previous book or proofs or whatever, or you're now doing events, so it takes you away
Mm.
from your work. How do you get back into it? Are you able to do it easily? Because for me, I'll look at the screen. I'm like, I have no idea what this is. Like, I don't even remember writing this
Yeah,
first bit.
yeah. I So up until now, I've tried to kind of work it so that like I suppose I was working on something coming up to like the publication of Fair Play, knowing
Yeah.
that of course I would have to put it aside. So I kind of worked it so that I kind of had an inbuilt pause. I mean, normally if I'm writing on something, I will get it to a certain point and then I will put it away for at least
Mm,
a couple of weeks so that I can kind of come to it with fresh eyes. So I kind of treated the publication of Fair Play as my deadline and wrote up until then and then put it away. And so when I came back to it, like what I wanted from it is to be able to experience it with fresh eyes, kind of like forget it a little bit,
yeah.
so that then I can actually um, edit it and move on to the next drafts a little bit easier. So I've kind of worked it that way up until now. Now sometimes obviously things happen and you have kind of deadlines, um, and it can be a little bit tricky that first time when you're sitting back with it because you're kind of looking through your notes, being like, "What was I supposed to be doing with this chapter?" But
Did you
but
question
I
everything?
yes, yeah. But I think there is that kind of good thing of like actually stepping away from it, like having that bit of a break from yourself, because sometimes you'll hopefully come back and be like, actually it's in better shape than I thought, or I realized what the problems are and what my kind of to-do list is now
Yeah.
as well.
I did it with them. I always call it my secret project, even though my friend, it's not a secret. Not to my agents. Like I always call it my secret project. And there was a time I was away from it for quite a while. And when I went back to it, I think maybe beginning of, I got to work out when I delivered my last edit. So it might have been maybe April. So when I went back to it after April, and I was looking at it and I was like, this is all wrong. And this has
Mm,
been something I've been working on for like a year because I said I'd do it in between everything else because I haven't had a big block of time because I'm writing my contracted books. And I was like, this is all wrong. Like my whole approach to it is just wrong. And I was like, okay, I need to reorganize like everything, like characters, backstories, motivations. And it wasn't a scary thing, because sometimes the
Hmm.
break away from it is like, actually, it's like completely like taking all the dust off the window and seeing it properly for what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is an important part of the process, that little
Mm.
break, because it's so interesting that you came back to it and you saw it with fresh eyes and you
Yeah,
thought, oh no, I've approached this totally the wrong way. But
yeah.
like, it's maybe at times a frustrating part of the process that you're thinking, God, I wish I had realized this maybe six
Oh, I
months
wish
ago.
I'd known
But
it 6 months ago.
yeah,
It would be
yeah.
finished. It would be so finished. Instead, I'm like,
But
crap, I got to go
I
back to the beginning, but it's fine.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many days I have worked an entire day. I have written a whole section. I've gone over it. I've edited it. Like I've worked out the thing, and it's like 4:30, and I realize, oh no,
No,
I've come up with a much better way of doing this, or actually I've realized how this doesn't work. So my entire day's work is going to be scrapped. And I mean, I justify it to myself by saying this is just part of the process. I wouldn't have had that revelation at Harvest 4 if I hadn't done all of this work. I don't know if that's actually true, but that's how I
no, it's
justify it to
not.
myself.
Because you're still saying to yourself, I wish I knew this at bloody 9 o'clock. I could have
Yeah,
saved
yeah.
myself the whole day. Right, Louise, we've been talking about fair play, so I'm going to ask you some questions about fair play. Would you like to tell the listeners of the conversation about your debut novel, Fair Play?
Yes, so Fair Play opens on New Year's Eve 2022, and it's a group of friends, and they've gathered in a very fancy Airbnb in the Irish countryside, partly to ring in the new year, but also it is their friend Benjamin's birthday the next day, New Year's Day. So they're enjoying themselves, they're dancing and drinking, and then they're also playing this murder mystery game that is devised by Benjamin's sister, Abigail.
Mhm.
Next morning, everyone wakes up except for Benjamin. And then the book splits into two, where on one hand, we are following Abigail in the weeks and the months after her mother's death and following her grief about his death. And on the other hand, Abigail is kind of suddenly staring in a murder mystery of her own, with its own detective, and it's Watson and its suspects, and she is trying to figure out the clues around her mother's
Yeah.
death. So kind of in both these kind of parallel universes, she's trying to figure out what happened, trying to come to some sort of answer to what happened, but obviously in very different ways.
Okay. Right, I've got 2 questions that follow on from you telling us about your book. So the first one, did you face any challenges in writing Fair Play?
I think that because of the structure of it, I mean, there was a lot of work to be done outlining it, chopping it into kind of its smaller
Mm,
parts, and kind of figuring out, especially in that main part, you're going back and forth between these two worlds. So it was the kind of figuring out the exact chronology and making sure everything uh, made sense, and that there was an arc in that middle section.
yeah.
And I think as well, so the reason it's called Fair Play is because of the Fair Play rules, which were these rules that governed detective novels of the Golden Age. The idea that these were books that were kind of puzzles to write,
Yeah.
and you had these set of rules that you had to adhere to, because as a reader, you should be able to read these books and figure out who the murderer is before the grand reveal. And so there was a bit of work to make sure that, like on the murder mystery side, everything did adhere to the rules and adhere to the kind of structure and the genre and the tropes as well, of a detective novel.
Mm,
Even though it was like, I really love detective novels, so it was really good fun to write that as well,
yeah.
even though it was a bit of a challenge. Yeah.
Okay. And if you could spend an afternoon with any of your characters from Fair Play, whom would you choose and why?
I mean, maybe August Bell, who is the detective.
Uh,
I'd say he has kind of some fun stories about murderers he's captured. He might be the best one to spend time with. Yeah.
okay. Right. So our last final. Thank you so much for watching this clip from the Conversation podcast. If you'd like to see the full episode, you can watch it right now here on my channel. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you never miss a conversation. And if you'd like to catch up on more conversations, you'll find them linked on your screen now. And you can also listen to the podcast on your favourite platform. See you there. Bye.